EVP, electronic voice phenomenon, is believed to be audio residue from the past. Researchers are also finding evidence of visual residue in the form of ghost-like apparitions and moving objects. This kind of residue haunting seems to occur most often in a place of high energy and emotion, a hospital, a church, or even a school. School's in session at St. Petersburg High. Kids still run in the halls. The principal still rules with an iron fist. Only trouble is, St. Petersburg High has been closed since 1926.
The spirit of St. Petersburg High is definitely living here among us.
Today, St. Petersburg High School has been converted into luxury condominiums. The old school rooms and hallways where teenagers of a distant past once dreamed of the future are gone. But people who live here now still see, hear, and feel echoes from the past.
A lot of people hear giggling and laughing in the hallways. People hear kids running down the hallways.
I witnessed probably the most spectacular, brightest white light I have ever seen in my entire life.
We've had lights go on and off in the middle of the night for no reason, and we've had a couple nights where we heard, big band music.
Have the students and teachers of yesteryear left an indelible metaphysical imprint on this historic building? Sightings called in Christopher Chacon and a team from the Office of Scientific Investigation and Research to interview the witnesses and stake out the interior with an array of state-of-the-art technology. The goal was to determine if Old St. Pete High is the site of what ghost experts refer to as residue haunting.
It would be possible that the children who went to school here may have in fact left some type of impression behind.
Among their instruments, this heat-sensitive imaging system called thermovision. It was this equipment that Chacon believes enabled his team to capture ghostly footprints on an earlier expedition.
Certainly the possibility is there that the experiences people are having are in connection to the students in class that were taking place back in the 1920s.
In 1920, St. Petersburg, Florida dedicated a new high school. The first yearbook had a prophetic dedication.
That the soul and spirit of the whole school could perhaps stay on for years to come, and which is in fact what could have happened here.
St. Petersburg High was a jewel in the city's crown. In 1920, St. Pete's first-class president was A.B. Fogarty. Today, he's one of the school's oldest living graduates.
When I picture the school, well, I see a large, airy, well-lit building with wide halls, a nice auditorium, people busy going to and fro to their different duties. And they had time to stop and talk to each other in those days.
St. Petersburg boomed so quickly that by 1926, the charming brick high school was too small. A larger school was built and Old St. Pete was abandoned. It had a variety of tenants over the next 60 years until it was converted into condos. When the new residents moved in, they felt an eerie sense that they were not alone.
You feel like you're living in someone else's space, and you have the feeling that you should respect it.
Bobby Brown had just moved into her apartment in the former science wing. She was watching television when she had her first paranormal encounter.
All of a sudden, this huge, shining disc that was gigantic, probably 6 feet across, came rolling through these windows. And when it hit the wall, it exploded into this millions of fragments of light, and the light was so bright it nearly blinded me. I believe there are spirits. I believe that there's an energy source that comes from an unexplained place, and that probably that energy is here in this building.
The individuals are very credible witnesses, and the situations are very simple situations that suddenly become very extraordinary because of phenomena which just cannot be classified.
More than 15 different people who live here have experienced strange haunting phenomena that they simply can't explain. At first, they just heard voices, laughing, giggling, childish shouts and murmurs. Then Rick Caesar, who lives in what was once the science lab, insists he saw a ghost.
Well, I was in the bedroom one morning getting dressed, and I saw a tall man with a white shirt and a thin tie. He was kind of looking off into the conservatory, just kind of like he was looking. And then I said, whoa, and I backed up to look again, and he wasn't there.
They may not, in fact, be individuals who are dead or have passed away coming back to haunt this location. They could, in fact, be nothing more than impressions that have been left behind in the environment that certain people are perceiving and sensing under certain extraordinary circumstances. That sound you hear right now? Those are your
Chacon's investigation here begins with physical and psychological testing of the eyewitnesses. He monitors their sleep to determine if what they are experiencing could be a dream. Then he uses highly sensitive equipment to monitor the entire building over a 24-hour period.
Thermovision allows us to visually record and document an environment in temperature variations. The night vision technology allows us to move around under complete darkness. All of these instruments work together, and then we're able to look at any types of abnormal phenomena or artifacts that we can correlate if something should take place.
While OSIR conducted its scientific investigation, Sightings walked the halls with A.B. Fogarty. It had been more than 70 years since the former class president had been here. We hoped he could help us understand why his long-departed classmates might still roam the building.
It's lost its airiness, its architectural creation. It's changed. It's a totally different thing, totally different.
There's no reason why, if in fact someone had demolished or changed the structure, that they wouldn't have come back and actually become more active because of the fact that someone altered it.
The spirit can roam anywhere, but anybody's can. The spirit is the thing who we really are.
The OSIR investigation turned up some unusual electromagnetic activity and cold spots in the walls, signs consistent with other reported residue hauntings.
We would probably have to classify this location as a classic haunt. It has all the characteristics as far as its past history, and also in regards to the experiences people continue to have.
The current residents of Old St. Petersburg High School take pride in their building's historic stature and live in peace with the building's past. Not everyone has experienced the voices and visions, but those who have believe that no matter what happens to this building in the future, it will always be filled with school spirit. During our investigation in St. Petersburg, we had access to some of the most sophisticated technology currently available. But this equipment is still in its infancy. Investigators have yet to devise some sort of machine to objectively measure a subjective experience, like feeling the presence of a ghost.